I'm now calling this meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. First, we will have the invocation and then our Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for the invocation from Mayor Hinton and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
May we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we seek your guidance in making choices that will strengthen our city, promote progress, and reflect integrity and fairness tonight. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda is roll call. Ms. Webb, call roll, please.
Pro Tem Washington.
Here.
Councilman Wiggins.
Here.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Here.
Councilman Aiken.
Here.
And President Bobo.
Present. Item number 5 is presentations. We have 2. The first is a proclamation recognizing pursuit of Tree City USA designation and recognition of Arbor Day. The second will be our Business of the Month proclamation. I see the mayor is headed down.
Good evening. This proclamation recognizes Arbor Day for us, and I don't think there's anyone here to receive the signed proclamation, so I will simply read it and let you hear it. Whereas trees are a beautiful natural resource and provide innumerable environmental and public benefits, including increased property values, enhancement of economic vitality of business areas, and beautification. Whereas the city of Northport is a tree-friendly city that prioritizes providing and maintaining trees for the public benefit. And whereas the city of Northport is pursuing designation as a Tree City USA to recognize and improve such efforts. And whereas the formal recognition and celebration of Arbor Day provides a great opportunity to invite and inspire others to join with us in these efforts. Now, therefore, I, John Hinton, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Northport, Alabama, do hereby proclaim the last Friday in April as Arbor Day in the city of Northport, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand, cause the seal of the city of Northport to be affixed this 23rd day of September 2024. Signed, John Hinton, Mayor. Washington, come down, please. Thank you, John Hinton. Glad you're here. Let me read this, and if you have any comments, you can make them too. And Mr. Washington has selected the Business of the Month, and let me read this to you. Whereas Rhubarb's Real Living, established in the city of Northport in 1998, has been chosen as a September 2024 Business of the Month for its exceptional service and welcoming staff. And whereas Rhubarb's is a modern merchandise that offers a diverse variety of mercantile, including gifts, clothing, and home decor. And whereas Rhubarb's is a beloved establishment within the historic downtown area of the city of Northport, which recently renovated its exterior at the historic Fawcett Building located at 415 Main Avenue, and is known for its inventory mix and dedication of service to our community. And now therefore be it resolved that I, John Hinton, as mayor of the city of Northport, with the full support of the city council, do hereby proclaim that Rhubarb's Real Living is hereby recognized as September 2024 Business of the Month. We extend our sincerest congratulations to Rhubarb's for its outstanding service and dedication to the community. In witness whereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Northport to be affixed this 23rd day of September, 2024, signed John Hinton, Mayor. Congratulations.
I'm not going to pass up a microphone. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I just want to appreciate, I really do, and I'm honored to be the Business of the Month. And I don't know who wrote this, but I was impressed with that as well. So, but we love our downtown. We love our community. We've been down there 24 years now, and we just look forward to many more profitable years and community-based years in the future. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton, and thank you, Susan, for being here with us tonight. We all love Rhubarb's, and I think it's probably my favorite place to go to pick up a gift or something for myself as well. So we appreciate you being here. Item number 6 is approval of the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion to approve the agenda for the September 23rd council meeting as printed?
So moved. Second.
All right, that's a motion by Pro Tem Washington and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb?
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Item number 7 is visitors to address the council. Although we did not have anyone sign up to speak beforehand, I understand that there are some people here who would like to speak on the University Beach Improvement District item. We want to hear from you, so I'm adding 3 minutes for each person to come up and address the council. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward one at a time and give your name and address at the lectern.
Guess I'll go first. Good evening, Councilman.
Good evening.
President Bobo, thank you for letting me speak. I'm Bart Harper, 4035 Harper Road. Just a couple of things. I mean, I just saw this a couple of days ago and I was wondering how this resolution come about. Was this from a council member? Was this from somebody in Texas or Donahue and them? How did this resolution come about? That's a question that I have. Can anybody give me an answer on that?
Yes, Mr. Davis.
Well, wait just a minute now. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Mr. President, but Mr. Davis and them, they're not voting on this. You guys are.
Correct.
So
yes.
we need to know, I mean, y'all know all about it, I'm sure.
I didn't know if you wanted the legal reason why it was up.
No, I just want to know how
On the agenda.
how it came about. Is this just something that one council member made a resolution, he wanted to do this, or where did it come from?
Where did the cooperative
Yeah,
agreement
yeah,
come from?
whose idea was it?
Okay, so
Usually it starts out with an idea from a council member and everybody jumps on board or they don't. That's just one question. So why are we doing this? Why are we creating another district, a city within a city, putting board members on it? From what I understand and read from Texas, who's not from here, y'all were elected to run the city. We got y'all to run the city. You were voted in to run the city and not somebody else. And it seems like we're hiring somebody else to run a city within a city. Is that correct? Why are we doing this?
I think that your answers might be addressed in the discussion of the agenda
Hmm?
item.
Why we're doing this? Why we're creating this district? That will be answered.
In the agenda item number 9,
But none of y'all can answer that.
well, I think you know that there is impending litigation, and so anything that we discuss needs to be.
We don't hide. All right.
Hey, what
Next,
it is,
just
Ms.
real quick, so
Glenda-
my 3 minutes don't
No,
run out.
sir. Mr. Harper.
Will the contract between the city
Mr. Harper.
and you, Yes.
Excuse me. Ms. Glenda is writing down every question, and all the questions will be answered. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But I would just think that we would know the answer to that.
It's
This
not
is
that
a
we
big
don't know the
decision.
answer. I'm sorry that you feel the need to insinuate that, but we'll definitely address that when we get to the
All right.
agenda item.
Will the contract between the city and University Beach still be intact, or does that go over to the new formation of the new district? Comments. This should not have to be explained by lawyers. As a council member who is voting on this should know everything in this code that in this district code. The lawyers don't vote. The council is voted in to run the city, just like I said, not to let people from another state run our city. Survey. My last survey is how many people in here are against this University Beach? And so we see the numbers. How many people are for this University Beach? One.
Okay, Mr. Harper, did you have much
Anyway,
more?
I'm done.
because
My
you've gone
time's
over?
up. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward with comments? Any questions that we'd like for the city administrator to document?
I'm Lee Boozer, 4105 Flatwoods Road, Northport, Alabama. I'm here tonight to question. I live within 200. My property line is within 200 yards of the beach project, and you know I was on the council for 9 months, and due to health reasons and maybe a few other reasons, I had to resign. But with me being 200 yards from there, I question whether I'm going to have problems with the creek and how they plan on getting the water, because this is in a floodplain. Some of I was told that if that you can't build on floodplain property. And I think, and I'm not 100%, that some of that property next to the creek is still in the floodplain. So I'd like to know what the plan would be and what do I have to worry about as far as flooding, waters that may contain animals and insects and turtles and whatever else that might happen to be on that property. I understand that there's a possibility of some wetlands, and you may not be able to talk because that may be part of the litigation. I don't know that. But I don't think that this council did due diligence before all this came up. And I believe about half of what I hear. I was on this board, and there's a lot of things get spread and said, but I do think that there were some bad choices made. It sounds like if we were in a larger area, you know, I thought the water park was a great idea. But I'm just worried that in the future that we're going to have, not only is it going to not produce what they say it's going to produce with Mr. Donahue's former reputation, and it's also not going to produce what they need to do, and then it's going to go away, and I'm going to be 200 yards from a mess. So if some of those questions could be strictly, I need to know about floodplain, and the creek. And I'm interested in that because of the property, my property. I hadn't been back in 5 or 6 years since I was here. Try to keep up with it, but I don't do that as close as I should. I will say this as my third point. Does that mean my time's up?
We'll let you finish. Don't feel pressured by that noise. I'm sorry.
I'm kind of
It's set on a timer.
okay. If you do, it sounds to me, and I didn't even know about this district within a city. I haven't read it. I will have read it by midnight tonight. I'll know a little bit more about it. But it sounds like y'all might be trying to get out of something that's created a big problem. Because what I hear is that this is gonna be given over to 3 people from Texas, 76, 80 acres, however how many it is, and they're gonna have complete control of the decisions. Is that true? Are you gonna have any governing of them at all? Because that may be another rumor, but that's what I heard. So that's the other question I would like to know. If y'all are gonna still have some say-so and control. Is the city gonna have control of 76 acres in Northport? Or are they gonna have complete control that they can do so? I even heard they're gonna be able to take my property. So, you know, I'm very concerned. Thank you very much for giving me this time.
Thank you. Thank you for your service to Northport as well. Do we have any additional people who would like to address the council with comments?
My name's David Fillmore. I'm a homeowner and a business owner. And could y'all maybe talk about
Can you
how
tell us
much
your address, please? I'm sorry.
3725 71st Avenue, which is on Flatwoods Road.
Okay.
Could y'all address maybe what the proposed revenue is going to be off of this for the districts, and maybe if it's going to be used to help out the Flatwoods Elementary to bring it up to what the other schools have?
Okay.
That's all I got.
We'll make note of that. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to provide comments? Mr. Holland, I saw that you were walking up here. Did you have something?
Well,
I don't want you to feel left out.
well, trust me, I don't. I just, one thing I wanted to say is, I'm the one that. Oh, I'm sorry. It is 3314 Mayberry Landing Drive, Northport. I didn't prepared to ask any questions, but we'll see what I can do off the top of my head. First, I want to make a statement that the lawsuit that y'all are talking about has nothing to do with this per se. All I want is documents. I want to know if there's been studies done on the financial end. I want to know if this project is viable. And the only way that you can know that is to actually do studies. Now, I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of what's been going on back and forth between my lawyer, your lawyer, but that's what I want to find there. If y'all don't want to talk to the press about any of this, that's on y'all. I mean, I don't think anybody's asked if there's any documents. They just ask particular questions, and let's just be honest about that. The problem that I think most of us have here is there's just no transparency. We just want to know stuff. We feel like we've been left out, put in the dark. We got all these things happening to us, and this particular one, we have absolutely no control over. I mean, it's up to y'all to vote it in or vote it out. But we have people, this isn't Ron Turner or any other developer that we know about. We know those people. We kind of, we don't necessarily agree with some of the things they do, but we know that at their heart, they want what's best for Northport. These people are from out of state. I don't even know if the people from, actually there's 2 people from Texas and 1 from California. They're going to be actually leading or over a good 100 or so acres of Northport. We don't know what their intentions are because they haven't come and talked to us. We haven't really sat down with y'all and y'all tell us what exactly is going on here. And I think that's if you want to do this kind of stuff, this big, grandiose type stuff, y'all are going to have to sit down with us. You're going to have to sell it. You're going to have to show us this right here. You know, we're going to bring in $1 million a year for Northport. We're going to do all these things, but y'all, and I don't want to be ugly, you hide. You hide behind a lawsuit that you don't, and that's what you're doing. You're just using it as a shroud. You know, it's not going to make any difference in the long run. With the lawsuit, my lawsuit with the city is because it doesn't necessarily concern what's going on here. I just want to see documents. That's all I want. And let's be open. Let's sit down and talk. Let's invite. I'll talk to y'all. These guys will talk to you. I mean, we can't keep on the track that we're on. Because, I mean, there's a lot of things said that aren't true, and there are some that we think are true. And we'd like to say, is this true? Who do we ask? Can I ask y'all? I mean, if I come to you and say, is this true? And I have asked some of you, and some of you say, I don't know. So it doesn't even seem like that you're open and honest with each other. That's all I got to say.
Thank you so much for sharing your feelings and concerns. We've duly noted those. Is there anyone else who would like to speak tonight? Anybody?
I will.
Okay.
I'll get in trouble, but I will. If nobody else, I get in trouble with John Henry. I'm Bobby Johnson. I live at 5615 Bridle Lane, Shirley Farms. The first meeting when Mr. Hogg presented and allowed people to talk, there was not allowed too much questions to be asked. I appreciate the council allowing that tonight. I grew up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. If I wanted to live in Tuscaloosa, I'd have stayed over there. I moved to Northport because Northport was different. And I think we've forgotten that. Most people that live in Northport moved to Northport or grew up in Northport and liked what Northport represented. I'll just give one example. Council made a choice to let Kentucky go over to Tuscaloosa, or was involved in that. I don't know whether they made the choice, but was involved. Some of it was said because of money. If it was because of money, we sure don't need to build a water park. There's a lot of difference in the money. Northport was noted for things like Kentucky. People came to Northport because of Kentucky. They wanted to be involved in things like community center, which the council changed their mind on that. And I think we forgot that nobody that lives in Northport wants to be ramrodded on anything. If they did, they would have stayed in Tuscaloosa or moved to Tuscaloosa. And I think the council has forgotten that you represent the people that live in Northport, not people that want to bring people in from Texas or whatever. We don't want people in Texas running anything in Northport. We want the council of Northport to speak for the citizens of Northport, and that has not happened in this situation. Contrary to what you say or anybody else said, all of it's been behind closed doors, behind the scenes, and I understand, I know a little bit about that, but transparency is the only way
that Northport can survive. And if we continue to do the things that we're voting to do that cost the money that some of this is gonna cost, Northport will not exist very much longer, because I don't think we can afford it. I don't think the citizens can afford it. I don't think they'll want to support it with tax increases, and I think the council needs to take that into consideration. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Just want to make sure that everyone who might not have had an opportunity to sign up is allowed to speak. I don't want anybody to walk away thinking that we wouldn't listen or that you're not heard. And I'll repeat that City Administrator Webb is writing all of the comments down for us to review later as well. Okay, we'll move on to item number 8, which is unfinished business. 8A is ordinance and resolutions of a permanent nature. 8A1 is a second reading ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2025 general fund operational budget. Mr. McGee.
Yes, ma'am. This, as you mentioned, is a second reading of our 2025 general fund operational budget. It's just over $48 million, and it has been discussed and approved by the Finance Committee on August the 19th, and it's ready for your vote.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2025 general fund operational budget. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb?
Voting by Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 8A2 is a second reading ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2025 water and sewer fund operational budget. Mr. McGee?
Yes, ma'am. This is the same situation. It's just over $12 million for the water and sewer operating fund, and it was also approved at Finance Committee on August the 19th.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2025 water and sewer fund operational budget. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb?
Voting by Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 8A3 is a second reading ordinance declaring 2025 severe weather preparedness tax holiday. Mr. McGee?
Yes, ma'am. This is for the city of Northport to participate in the statewide severe weather preparedness tax-free holiday. It is the weekend of February 25th through the 23rd.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance declaring the severe weather preparedness tax holiday February 21st through 25th, 2025. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilwoman Dykes and a second by Councilman Aiken. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb?
Voting by Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 8A4 is a second reading ordinance authorizing the city administrator to enter into a cooperative agreement with Tuscaloosa County for public infrastructure repair, rehabilitation, and construction. Mr. Davis.
Yes, Madam President. This allows the city to enter into agreement with Tuscaloosa County for joint projects. We've done this in the past. Laws changes has to be done now by ordinance, which this would passage this would allow that, and it's for a 3-year term.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance authorizing the city administrator to enter a cooperative agreement with Tuscaloosa County for public infrastructure repair, rehabilitation, and construction. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilwoman Dykes and a second by Councilman Aiken. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb?
Voting by Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 8A5 is a second reading ordinance amending Chapter 54 pertaining to inspection of hotel register. Mr. Davis.
Yes, this has been requested by the police department and our city prosecutor. It will allow us to be even more vigilant in human trafficking and other related areas, so we request this be passed.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance amending chapter 54 pertaining to inspection of hotel register. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right, so that's a motion by Councilman Aiken, a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting Mayor Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 8A6 is a second reading ordinance amending chapter 74 pertaining to fees for water and sanitary sewer. Mr. Davis.
Yes, Madam President, this does not impact water or sewer fees. This is only for, water sewer rates. It does not apply to rates. This is for fees such as a connection fee or something like that for a new customer. And it basically puts those fees on a CPI rate, so we don't have to come back and address them every year.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance amending chapter 74 pertinent to fees for water and sanitary sewer. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting Mayor Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. Item number 9 is new business. 9A, ordinances and resolutions of a permanent nature. We have none tonight. 9B, resolutions of a temporary nature. 9B1 is a resolution authorizing an agreement with ESO Solutions Incorporated for NFRIS and EHR compliant reporting software. Chief Marshal,
Yes, Madam
tell me
President.
all those acronyms.
This is our reporting software annual agreement for both our medical runs and our fire runs, and it is a budgeted expense.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing an agreement with ESO Solutions Incorporated for NFRIS and EHR compliant reporting software. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Pro Tem Washington and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting Mayor Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 9B2 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement between the City of Northport Fire, Rescue, and W. Crawford, MD, LLC for a period of 1 year. Chief Marshal.
Yes, Madam President. This also is a budgeted expense. The state requires all EMS providers that provide advanced life support to have a medical director, and this will for 1 year.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement between the City of Northport Fire and Rescue and W. Crawford, MD, LLC for a period of 1 year. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We were tied. Woodrow. Give it to Woodrow.
Wiggins.
Okay, that's
Either.
a motion by Councilwoman Dykes and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting Mayor Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 9B3 is a resolution ratifying acceptance of the Scrap Tire Marketing Fund grant through the Alabama Department of Environmental Management. Ms. Tubbs.
Yes, we received a $23,711 grant for the Scrap Tire Marketing Fund, and this is recycled tires to use for fall material for playground equipment. So we can use this at all of our playgrounds.
That's excellent. Let me guess, Ms. Nelson.
Ms. Nelson.
Thank you, Ms. Savannah Nelson, for those grants. The form of that motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing ratification of acceptance of the Scrap Tire Marketing Fund grant through the Alabama Department of Environmental Management in the amount of $23,711.85. Do I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
Okay. That's a motion by Councilman Aiken and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting Mayor Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. 9B4 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Local Government Services LLC for additional cable franchise services. Mr. Davis.
Yes, as you know, this council's authorized us to use this service, which is recommended by the League of Municipalities. So far, they have done a very good job of helping us increase our revenue. They have located Southern Light LLC that is using our right-of-way, which we didn't know about, but they did. And so we're going to ask you to increase their retainer by $6,000 so that we can get this under franchise, which as it should be. So we could not be happier with this company.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Local Government Services LLC for additional cable franchise services. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. 9B5 is a resolution for special appropriation for District Attorney's Office and Para Foundation. Mr. McGee.
Yes, Madam President, this is a request for a special appropriation totaling $65,000, $15,000 for the District Attorney's Office for communication interface with public safety, and $50,000 for the Para Foundation to go towards Mason's Place with the all-inclusive playground at Sokol Park.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt this resolution authorizing payment of special appropriations to the District Attorney's Office for $15,000 and to Para Foundation for Mason's Place, the all-inclusive playground, in the amount of $50,000 for a total amount of $65,000. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 9B6 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Thompson Engineering Incorporated for construction engineering and inspection services for the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard roadway project. Ms. Tubbs.
Yes, this is, project is now under construction. We're requesting that Thompson Engineering do our engineering inspection services for this project. This is an MPO project, so the city is responsible for 20% and the MPO is responsible for 80%.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Thompson Engineering Incorporated for construction engineering and inspection services in the amount of $1,434,197.07. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Aiken and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington?
On this, I must abstain, but I'm 100% behind it.
Noted
Yes.
as abstain.
Yes.
Yes. Item 9B7 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to sign the resolution complying with Homeland Security Presidential Directive Number 5 as outlined in the National Incident Management System. Ms. Webb.
Yes, ma'am. This is a request from EMA and is to say that we will be in compliance with NIM standards and the presidential directive so that we can work collaboratively with EMA and in the event of any natural or man-made disaster.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing the city administrator to sign the resolution complying with Homeland Security Presidential Directive Number 5 as outlined in the National Incident Management System. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Pro Tem Washington and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Item number 9B8 is a resolution authorizing the Northport Police Department to participate in the Community Traffic Safety Program Grant. Chief Burton.
Yes, ma'am. This agreement allows funding for our officers to perform traffic enforcement within the city of Northport.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing the Northport Police Department to participate in the Community Traffic Safety Program Grant. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilwoman Dykes and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. 9B9 is a resolution approving the formation of the University Beach Improvement District and the articles of incorporation thereof and appointing the initial board of directors of the district. Mr. Davis.
Yes, the original resolution and agreement that this council passed in February. Thanks to Mr. Holland, everything's online. So if you go and look at that online, on page 18 down at the bottom, page 19, it contemplates the formation and creation of districts. And so this is what the council voted on back in February of this year. And it says that the council will consider in good faith the formation of 2 districts, one an improvement district and the second one is a cooperative district. Tonight, the petition has been filed that we've anticipated by the developer to form an improvement district. So we have here tonight John Ray, who you all know this represents the city in these development matters, can speak and then answer your questions. And then we have Mr. Alvin Hope, who's representing the 3 petitioners for this district. So both of them could speak. I'd ask Mr. Ray if he would go first. And then either one can answer questions that you have.
Thank you, Ron. That's right. It's in section 5.02 of the development agreement. And it was always contemplated that the developer would come before the council and request the formation of an improvement district. And just to, maybe it'd be worthwhile to talk about what an improvement district is and what it is not. It is certainly not another city inside the city. So improvement district has been, they're authorized under Alabama law, allows any person who has land in your district, in your city, to apply to create a district. The applicant here is University Beach. Mr. Donahue, as the managing member, has signed the application. And the only land to be proposed to be included in the University Beach Improvement District is the land owned by University Beach. No one else's land is affected or included. In order to be included, an owner would have to sign the petition, and it is only signed by University Beach. The statute allows the applicant to propose, it must be a minimum of 3 board members for this public board that would be subject to approval by the city. And the statute says members of the board need not be owners, residents, electors, or taxpayers of the appointing government or the state. That's the Alabama law. It's what it says. As I understand the proposal, the concept with improvement districts, the owners of this land would go forward through the improvement district process and identify potential assessments that they would charge to their own property. And then they would use those assessments to potentially borrow money to help fund the construction of improvements. Important to know that even though the city is being asked to create the entity, no debt of this organization will be the responsibility of the city of Northport. This would be, any debt issued by this entity would be the responsibility of the entity. And so that's important, I think, for people to know. Also, any assessments to be approved by the board have to come back before the city council. So the only thing presented to you tonight is a petition by the petitioners asking for permission to form the improvement district and naming the 3 board members proposed in the petition. If the council approves, they would then go and meet and do their business and eventually would come back to you with a proposal for what their improvements will be, how will the land that they have be benefited by it. And that's the standard the statute talks about, is that the proposed assessment of each tract of land is based on the estimated increase in value resulting from the special benefits by the proposed improvement. So that's the process that would happen. And this council would ultimately be asked to approve the assessments. That's the next step in something like this. But to be clear, the land is still subject to all the city's rules and regulations, the same zoning rules and regulations that you have now. So this is not the creation of an autonomous city inside your city. It is a vehicle by which the developer can pledge his own property to support his development. There were some other questions. I'm not the person to respond. I don't know how the creek in the floodplain will be affected, so y'all need somebody smarter than me on that. I will say, as far as proposed sales and so forth, my recollection is when the developer presented this before, they estimated $30+ million of transaction sales in phase one. Phase one being the water park and the beach club and those related improvements. Then phase two proposed would ultimately include hotels and so forth, which would be subject to hotel tax. So I know there was an estimate of $30+ million in sales, a portion of which those sales taxes would be shared with the developer in accordance with the terms of the development agreement. Any money that the city received from this would be general sales tax money that you could use however you see fit, not limited or earmarked for any particular thing. Does anyone have any questions for me? As Mr. Davis did state, Mr. Hope is here. He represents the petitioners, and you may have some questions for him.
I had a question that I asked in the executive session, but I wanted to ask it here too.
Yeah.
If, given that the developer is creating this district, if they take out a bond or other kind of lending against that district, the city has, given land that the city bought as part of the agreement with the understanding that the developer would build the water park on, using that land, and that part of the agreement to own that land would be that they had to build the water park within 5 years.
That's right.
Is there anything in this improvement district or any encumbrance that they could put on it that would prevent the city from taking that land back if the water park didn't get built?
So no, from my perspective, the deed in place makes very clear, it's got a reversionary clause in it, that in the event the developer fails to perform, the city gets the land back free and clear of all liens and encumbrances other than what was there when the city conveyed the property to the developer. So if the developer were to attempt to place a lien or an encumbrance on it and they failed to perform, the deed, which has got the reverter clause in it, would precede that, and that would not stick. And I think that as we move forward, if the council approves, that will certainly be something that the improvement district will have to discuss how to handle. My suspicion is, as they seek to place assessments, that they will look carefully on the city's land, because the city's land has a reversionary clause that I suspect their bondholders would be not too happy with if the city has a right to get their land back free and clear of the lien to be proposed. I will note that just because all of the land is included in the district doesn't mean all of the land will be subject to the assessments. The statute says that the district can petition for the assessment of all or any part of the land. So in the event that this council approves this, we'll have to work with the district as we move forward as to what those assessments would look like, which again are subject to your approval. And so rest assured, it is essential part of this deal that the city get its land back without any problem in the event the developer fails to perform. That was a requirement from the beginning, and there will be nothing that goes forward through this process that we will do to eliminate that requirement or to diminish it. And that's something we'll just work with the improvement district on. That, to me, is something that I think the council has made clear. That's a requirement, and we want to honor that requirement.
Mr. Ray, I'm going to follow up on what Carl said, because I'm not following you. So if they get a bond, right now we've deeded our land to
right.
Mr. Donahue. So does a bank really care that that is our land if they go bankrupt? Are they not going to want all of that land as collateral for a bond or bank?
Yeah, so the bank would only be able to take what interest the owner of the property has.
But
And
does that not include our 11 acres?
So our acreage that was conveyed, we conveyed it, but we reserved the right to get it back in the event the developer fails to perform. So anyone who, once we did that, any additional lender that loans money with respect to and considers the city's portion of the land as a part of the collateral, they are on record and aware that the city has the right to get its money back free and clear of their lien because it is a matter of public record. It's recorded in the deed. They take subject to that requirement. So that is something that any bondholder, lien holder, bank, anyone is going to consider when considering whether you're willing to take that portion of the land as collateral, because it's subject to a reverter clause that is of record and they're on notice of that.
Okay.
And so I think that creates a very distinct difference between the city's land and the remaining land that the developer has purchased free and clear through the private process. That land is subject to pledge and foreclosure and assessment and so forth, but we are in a special position because we have a reverter clause in our deed that if the developer fails to perform, then we get our land back.
Okay. Let me ask you another question while we're on it. Looking through, Mr. Davis gave us some information on Section 1199A. It was about 6 pages, and it clearly states that we're giving these 3 people quite a latitude of power here. I mean, you made the comment they couldn't create a city within a city, but am I reading correctly that they can develop a school, they can develop a police department, they can develop a fire department?
So there's no doubt that the powers of an improvement district under Alabama law are broad, and those are spelled out in the code.
Right.
I think you have to look at the plan that's been presented, the plan for the improvements, which will come back before you for approval.
Right.
So there are no assessments that can be imposed on this land for a school unless they bring that request to you and you approve it. So what I mean to say is there's no doubt that when the legislature created the improvement district statute, it desired to grant broad authority to improvement districts, and it did. But there are safeguards in the statute, namely the fact that requests for assessments have to be approved by the city council. And the plan for the development and the plan for the improvements to be constructed by those assessments have to come before you, and you're the one who ultimately would bless the assessments to be imposed on the property.
So anything they do has to come back before us?
Before any assessments are applied on this property, the city council has to approve them.
Define assessment for me.
So assessment is the sort of the whole purpose for an improvement district. And Mr. Hope may want to talk more about this, but the improvement district concept is to allow the district to impose assessments on their land, which would be a certain value of a lien based on the improvement of that land for the value of the improvement of the land related to the construction of the improvements they're going to be building out there. And the statute allows the improvement district to then pledge those assessments to a bank to borrow money, which then they would use to fund the improvements that they would present to you. Okay. That's the structure. And Mr. Hope I'm sure can explain that more articulately than I can. But that's the basic concept of an improvement district. But I do think it's important that the assessments, the next steps of this district have to be approved by you. also subject to your zoning and other city rules and regulations. So that's what I mean by saying it's not autonomous. I mean, it's still subject to
Very
your
broad.
oversight and and the city's rules and regulations.
I want to make sure that I heard you correctly, that the only land that is affected by this is the land that is owned by the petitioners. It does not encroach into other areas or spill over into adjacent.
That's correct.
It's only what's, okay.
That's correct. And I mean, a requirement of the law is that the owners of the land to be involved have to sign, and that's only University Beach.
Mr. Harper asked a question about the resolution when he came up, and Mr. Davis made a comment that this was brought through petition from, I'm assuming, Mr. Donahue or his council.
That's right.
So he petitioned the city, and the resolution came from that.
That's right. As part of the approval of the development agreement, we anticipated that they would subsequently petition the city for the creation of an improvement district. And so they filed a petition, and the resolution we've prepared is in response to the petition. It's just not, I think what Mr. Davis was trying to say is that we knew it was coming, and that it was contemplated when the council approved the development agreement. That is one of the aspects of the development agreement, is the anticipation that it would apply. And what the development agreement says, in fact, the form of the petition is attached as an exhibit to the development agreement that was approved in February. But it says that the city would, upon receipt of an application in substantially the form as that's attached, the city shall consider in good faith approving the formation of an improvement district. And so we anticipated that they would in the future apply. They have done so, and that's why we're here, because that was included in the development agreement. And so there's no, I think another comment was perhaps maybe things are changing or trying to shift. Like, no, this improvement district has always been a part of this potential project, and this is just the next step.
I don't know if this is for you or Mr. Davis, because we are currently in litigation. Is it prudent for us to move forward in anything that is related to University Beach, given the fact that we are in litigation?
Yes, and I'd almost hate to say this on Facebook, Mr. Holland, sit down. You and I agree on that point. This, his lawsuit deals with public documents, and I've worked with his attorney to be sure that we've given him everything. In fact, because of Mr. Holland's lawsuit, it just became easier to put everything related to University Beach on city website, and we've given them information about that. That has to do with public documents. I'd advise you not to talk about public documents because we still have litigation, although I'll be glad for Mr. Holland to drop his lawsuit at any time. But he's correct. What we're doing tonight has nothing to do with his lawsuit, so there's no reason for you not to take action tonight.
Okay, thank you.
That's good. That is a good question.
So the formation of this improvement district, the funding and maintaining of it, who is responsible for that?
The district.
Solely the district?
Solely the district.
What is the impact of that on the residents of Northport?
I'm not sure I understand your question. So
is there any future impact to the residents of Northport as it relates to the maintaining of this improvement district at all?
The entity solely responsible for maintaining the improvements of the district is the district. And the district can impose assessments on the land in the district to help fund the maintenance of that, but that is all the land owned by University Beach. So the district cannot impose some obligation on a neighbor for something that's in the district, no. I mean, that if I don't know if that answers your question, but the improvements all are responsible and funded from the district, and the district is responsible for paying. Is that fair, Alvin?
And Mr. Hope, do you know how your client intends to operate within this improvement district? Like what their intent be with the improvement district is?
First of all, Alvin Hope with Maynard Nexon. Do represent the petitioners, and glad to be here with you this evening. But if you would repeat your question, sir.
So your clients, with this improvement with the improvement district, how do they plan on using the improvement district? And I say that from an aspect of looking at it, they have a broad range of powers. So do you know any potential assessment that they plan to make and bring forth?
Well, just to give a little bit more clarity to the assessment process. So the intended development is set forth in our in the development agreement. It's intended to be a mixed-use development, including a water park and some other commercial development. If this district is approved, the process would require that an engineering report assess all the do an assessment of the improvements that will be made to the land, and that will be followed by what they call a methodology report, which will assess the value, the increased benefit of the development based on those improvements. And that assessment would be allocated on a unit basis, whether it be square footage per acre, to all of the land users. And those land users will avail themselves to that assessment. And those assessments will be used for a bond issue to be sold to probably not a bank, but some Nuveen, for example, is an entity they buy these types of bonds. And those bond proceeds can be used for site development, certain eligible infrastructure improvement things that are set forth in the statute. They'll probably be tax exempt bonds because these districts are public corporations. That's what they're intended to be. That's how they're treated. They're subject to the open meetings laws. They'll have to have meetings. They have to be transparent, and the public is welcome to attend those meetings. But the assessment specific to your question will be used for site development.
Will they have the opportunity to annex, will they have the authority, I guess is the better question, of annexing any of the adjacent property around it?
Fair question, good question. So the statute does allow for that if the council were to authorize them and grant them that authority.
Okay.
My point is,
so
the statute allows it. That's not something that we petition for or something that you are authorizing.
So, okay, for clarity, if I buy the land between Mr. Harper's and the development and they're contiguous, can they annex that property into the development?
It cannot.
Okay.
You have not granted it that authority. You have not granted that authority. You're not granting that authority, so it cannot.
Okay.
We're getting confused about what the statute will allow and
Right.
what we're petitioning for.
So the statute does
The
allow
statute,
for that.
to your point, is broad, but that's not what you're authorizing. You're not authorizing that
Okay.
authority.
Okay.
So we don't have any more authority than you will allow.
Okay, let me ask you another question. And you may not know the answer to this question, is Mr. Donahue still associated with the Sapphire Beach Bay project?
I don't know the answer to that question.
You do not know the answer to that
I do
question? Okay.
What I can tell you is the reason why we were chosen for this is because we represent a lot of districts around the state. And so developers call us to help them form these districts, and so they're not uncommon.
So you're an Alabama
Correct.
Alabama resident, Alabama
Correct.
attorney.
Can you tell us some of the other improvement districts that you represent? Locations of?
McGowan Park, which is a retail development, commercial development in Mobile, Alabama. Just formed one last week in Prattville, Elmore County. Riverfell District, which will be similar to this district. Mid-City in Madison County, Huntsville area. Purcell Farms, people probably don't know that. It's the cooperative district. So there's several districts. I can provide a list of others, but they're increasingly becoming more and more common because they're intended to be a tool for public-private partnerships. So to induce development and to hopefully create growth and create a greater tax base.
Can I ask just one question of the gentleman?
That's up to you.
Sure.
The gentleman before you said that, say that you wanted to build a school or just where's that listed that they had?
Well,
In other words, where's the line that they have to go to the city council before they do anything within the district? My interpretation of it is, they do pretty much what they want.
Well, let me respond since he was talking about me. And Alvin can certainly correct. What I said was that the assessments and that process all has to come back in front of the city council. And the plans that he mentioned, all those things have to come back ultimately for you to approve the assessments. And so you're involved in that process. And so,
Mr. Ray, what power are we giving to these three individuals? What will they have the same power as a city council elected official?
no, they have the powers to run the improvement district as set forth in the code, which are limited also by your supervisory authority, requiring you to approve the assessments and also requiring the district to comply with city rules, regulations, ordinances, and so forth. So
I'm
no.
gonna ask y'all, you two, please, if you'll remain up here.
Yeah.
Some of the questions that we had from citizens earlier, since we aren't open for public comment right now, but wanna make sure we didn't miss anything. Let's see.
Can you read my writing? I'm sorry.
How did this resolution come about? Where did the idea come from? I think, Mr. Davis answered that earlier with, it was part of the, did you wanna jump in?
I think we've answered that.
The idea came about during the negotiation over the development agreement with University Beach. It's contained in, I think, pages 18, 19, and 20, whatever Article 5 is. It talks about an improvement district, and then later there will be a petition, or we anticipate a petition for a cooperative district, which will require city residents to be members of that cooperative district. But that's not for tonight, that's for a later date.
Okay, and then, Mr. Ray, I believe you addressed, the contract with the city and University Beach would still be intact, or would it go to the developer?
Yeah, no, the development agreement is in place. Nothing about this process changes the obligations of the city under the development agreement. This is a portion, a piece of the development agreement that was anticipated. So no, the development agreement remains in place.
Okay, and then we had, I think you just covered it with me already, to double verify, Mr. Boozer was concerned about his property and how close the proximity of it is to the development. We established that we don't have the information in front of us about the floodplains or the creek.
But I would say
say.
that was also subject to the city's zoning and land use, so that process would be normal.
Okay.
Yes, so our ordinance does not allow any development in the floodway. So regardless of that, I looked up the property in University Beach. They do have some acreage in the floodway. They will not be able to develop that area. And if there is wetlands issues, it'll have to be delineated by the Corps of Engineers and get a permit to be able to use the wetlands area.
Okay.
So is that having to do with the letter that the Corps has received? Have you seen the letter that Mr. Donahue has received from the Corps of Engineers?
I have not.
I have
Okay.
not, but I would say that there's nothing about the improvement district that impacts that portion of the development.
That
No,
portion?
they will, just
They
like
still-
any other
it's just
development, they'll
gonna
have to
develop
follow
just
all of our
like-
ordinances, and we have a floodplain prevention ordinance. So.
Yeah, so there's nothing about tonight that changes that.
Okay, I'm just looking through these other questions to see if you've already answered those.
Could we clarify the number of acres that are involved in floodplain and the wetland? How many acres out of the total project?
Why wasn't this done before all of this came back?
I don't know off the top of my head the number of acres. I'd have to look into that on how many's actually in the floodway. This is standard. Whenever we go through a development, we will always address the floodway and the what can be developed in the 100-year flood and the floodway in all developments. So this will be treated the same way.
Okay, I think we've gotten all the questions that came beforehand. Does anybody else on the council have questions from you two guys?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Did you have something that you didn't speak before that you wanted to just bring up? We'll take one last question. With your hand raised. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The improvement district, you're going to use the improvement district to sell bonds to raise money for your project, correct?
Correct.
So, why have the improvement district? Is there federal and state money that you're going to receive by being in an improvement district? Is that why you're doing that? Because you can sell your own bonds on your own property, you know, into the same investor. So why are you going to an improvement district? Is it to get more taxpayer money?
Mr. Hoag, since we're not in a discussion with public comment, can you rehash what he just asked you and then kind of answer it at the microphone, please? Sorry about that. I know you weren't expecting this.
Well, he's asking why are we using the district to raise funds?
Yeah, basically.
Well, again, in the spirit of public-private partnership, the statute allows for a developer to create another revenue stream, right? And so these assessments serve as a revenue stream that can be pledged for bond service to develop the infrastructure for the development. It lowers the cost of capital for the developer, allows for the project to hopefully be more successful.
But is there taxpayer money involved?
There's not taxpayer money involved. The city does not have an obligation. The assessor is assessing, the owner of the land is assessing himself and the users of the property.
But what I'm saying is I don't understand the development. Why can't you just sell the bond without having your board of directors in the improvement district?
It's tax free. Because
There's some tax implications in it
Well,
somewhere.
well,
I mean, what I'm asking.
Good point. I think I understand your question better now. So, as a public corporation, it can issue bonds tax exempt, meaning the interest on the bonds isn't taxable to the bondholder.
So.
Right? So then the developer can go to market and sell the bonds lower than he would if he were to go to a bank for conventional financing. It lowers the cost of capital because the bonds are tax exempt.
Okay, even though we've already given them $60-something million in tax breaks, that allows over the 30 years of the project.
Let's circle back to this isn't a session for public questions and answers.
Okay.
But did you get the initial question that you asked answered? I think so. Do we have any other questions and comments from council? No, okay. So item number 9B9, the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution approving the formation of the University Beach Improvement District, the articles of incorporation of the Improvement District, and appointing the initial board members of the district. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes. Item number 9C is consent agenda. This ranges from minutes, bill listings, and PO requisitions. Form of the motion is to approve the consent agenda for the September 23rd, 2024 council meeting as printed, or if we have any addition or deleted items, I don't think we did. So that would be as printed. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item number 10 is reports of special committees of council. Do we have any? Hearing none, we'll go to item number 11, which is public hearings. We have 5 public hearings tonight, 1 from legal, 2 from planning, and 2 from the police department. Speakers, please do not approach the council dais while in session unless given specific permission. Item 11A is engineering. We have none. 11B is the legal department. We have 1. 11B1 is a second reading ordinance repealing ordinances 2225 and 2226, ordering demolition of 1207 15th Street Court. Mr. Davis.
I'm sorry, I'm not
Sorry,
Mr. Davis,
Mr.
Madam
Cunningham.
President. We did a switcheroo on you. This item it should be familiar to you. These 2 ordinances, which really involve the same property. The reason there are 2 ordinances, we wanted to have an additional public hearing when we were going through the demolition process, so that's why there's 2 ordinances. It is the same property. So what is on the agenda tonight is a repeal of those ordinances. This particular property was air property, or is air property, I should say. And so Ms. Mayfield is the petitioner tonight for you to consider the repeal. This is her grandparents' property, and it reached such a state of disrepair that it was condemned for demolition. She, at this point, has done some of the work already and retained legal counsel as well. So I'm sorry, on the timeline, this was done in June with a 60-day extension, which has recently expired. And during that 60 days, Ms. Mayfield was able to retain legal counsel and complete some of the legal work, including acquiring additional interest in the land. And like I said, complete some work on the house itself and get estimates. And so what staff has recommended to you tonight is to table consideration of this repeal rather than repealing it immediately, which would keep the demolition order in place but allow Ms. Mayfield to make additional progress. I think one of the primary challenges is, as this is air property owned by multiple owners, that creates challenges. Ms. Mayfield's legal counsel, I believe, is here tonight, and so may want to speak at the public hearing.
Okay, so I'll open the floor for a public hearing for agenda item 11B1. Is there anyone here who would like to speak for or against this item?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Jason Avery. I'm a lawyer with Bradley Aaron in Birmingham. Ms. Mayfield retained me early this summer to help her acquire an additional interest of some family members that live here. That person is under a conservatorship, and so it took some time to petition the court in Tuscaloosa County and then the approval of the probate court to acquire that interest. That process is all but complete now. And during that time, as Chris indicated, she's retained me. She has retained a contractor to do the work and stands ready, willing, and able to do so. She has a sentimental value to this house. It's her grandparents' home. She did not find out about the condemnation because of the heirs issue that Chris described until much later in the process, and is now taking steps to remedy that situation. She has a contractor tomorrow if the council does agree with staff's recommendations to table. It's my understanding that she would be allowed to pull a building permit and is prepared to do so. She is the heir that is most engaged and most values this property the most. And she's got a plan for it. It's going to be family home or rental property going forward once the repairs are made. So I would ask that you agree with staff, table the discussion to allow Ms. Mayfield, who does live in DC and would have been here but for the fact of another family member passing away in a funeral tomorrow morning in Maryland. And so she wanted to be here but couldn't because of that. Otherwise, she would be here in front of you saying the same thing that I am. And so she will do those things. She's going to spend about $25,000 or so, give or take, to repair the property and is prepared to do so.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for or against this item? Any questions? Hearing none, I'll close the floor for a public hearing on agenda item 11B1. Form of that motion is to table consideration of this ordinance repealing ordinances 2225 and 2226, ordering demolition for 1207 15th Street Court to the November 4th, 2024 council meeting. Do I hear a motion to table?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 11C is Planning and Inspections Department. We have two. 11C1, excuse me, is a second reading ordinance of conditional use approval to locate a service station in a C3 general commercial zoning district located at the south of Owen Parkway and east of US Highway 43. Ms. Ram.
Yes, ma'am. This item comes with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission with the following recommended conditions: that no overnight parking would be allowed, a 20-foot landscape buffer along Highway 43 be provided, a 10-foot landscape buffer along the south property line, and then also that all facades of the building must match. It is ready for a public hearing.
Okay, so I'll open the floor for public hearing for agenda item 11C1. Is there anyone who would like to speak for or against this item? Hello.
Hello, good evening. I'm Tom Sims on behalf of the developer. The developer is Prince Oil Company. They have a multitude of these stations all over the place, and they just look forward to having an opportunity to build one at this location. I think it's a high traffic area, and it's pretty much well suited for the proposed use.
Okay, is there anyone else who has any questions or would like to speak for or against this item? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the floor for public hearing for agenda item 11C1. Form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance of conditional use approval to locate a service station in the C3 General Commercial Zoning District located at south of Owen Parkway and east of US Highway 43. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
That's a motion by Councilman Wiggins, second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 11C2 is a second reading ordinance of conditional use approval to locate an automotive service station in a C3 general commercial zone for a property located at 2511 Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard. Ms. Ram.
Yes, ma'am. This item also comes with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. They are recommending the one condition that all facades on the building match as shown in Exhibit A that is attached to your ordinance in your packet. It is ready for a public hearing as well.
Okay, so I'll open the floor for public hearing for agenda item 11C2. Is there anyone who would like to speak for or against this item?
Hey, good evening. My
Good
name is
evening.
Justin Duck. I'm with Express Oil Change. I believe, Madam President, you and Tyler Hendon, my colleague, had some emails back and forth about our project, so I just wanted to confirm or clarify any questions you all might have.
I don't recall a back and forth about this. Could you?
He just said that he had some correspondence emails with you, maybe sharing some elevations of our project.
With our planning and zoning department, you mean?
He said specifically you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Tyler Hendon.
No,
Okay.
I have not received that communication.
Okay, okay.
Is there something in that communication that you'd like to discuss?
Not at all.
Is
There were some clarifying things that I was just, any questions that we might, that may be asked, I was gonna clarify them. If there were anything, but.
Okay. Ms. Ram, can you detail what this went through with planning and zoning a little bit further as far as what we've received in our packet I'm familiar with?
So it did go through the Planning Commission. It also had 5 variances that were heard by the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Those were approved by the Zoning Board. And then you do have in your packet the facade that the Planning Commission did recommend.
Okay, so I do remember there being variances with that.
Yes, there
Correct.
Let me ask this question, does it have 2 businesses in one here?
There are 2 buildings on the site that are proposed. I believe it's actually one business. You may be able to explain that a little better than I
Yes, it's one business, just 2 different operations going on within those 2 businesses. So one building is simply for oil changing and the other one is for service work, like preventative maintenance.
This is a very busy street there, Lurleen Wallace, and cars have to back up out in the street. It could be a real problem, so I don't know where there's room for all that in that little space there or not, you know.
Where was the entrance and exit located from? It's not Lurleen Wallace,
It's
was it?
not,
I
it's
don't
not
recall
on
it being.
Lurleen.
It
Yes,
is not on
ma'am.
Lurleen. There's an entrance on 27th Street or 27th Avenue and then 18th.
That's right.
Is there
What
a
were the
similar?
variances?
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What were the variances?
They did ask for a couple of landscape variances. I think there was a curb cut variance. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's a landscape variance. It's some planters around the buildings. It was a variance for the doors facing Lurleen B. Wallace and let's see, sidewalk variance.
There's some man standing behind you.
Did you?
He's not security.
Okay.
He's just here for any
making sure you
technical
knew that.
questions.
Okay. Do we have any other questions from council?
What about parking and everything? You think that's gonna be a problem?
I think stacking was one of the things that had come up previously, and I just wanted to clarify that, we see 43, so we've got almost 400 stores across the country, and we average about 43 cars a day. So if you look at the plan, that's 43 cars a day is pretty much our data. So we can service 12 cars an hour. So I don't envision stacking being a problem at all. You have enough room to get 3 cars into the oil changing bays, and we also have a lot captain who will he's a rover that stays outside. He'll direct cars. So we have enough to get 3 cars in the bays, 3 cars behind those without stacking or interfering within, what is that, 27th Street, sorry.
Is there a local operation that's set up similarly to how this would be?
We've got 3 locations in Tuscaloosa, so I don't.
They're kind of double purpose like that.
Yes, they are. They are.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a service building. It's preventative maintenance. Putting tires on vehicles, brakes, that kind of stuff, and then our oil changing bays are 10 to 12 minute drive in, stay in your vehicle. You don't get out. Oil changes.
So there's not typically a lot of people parking there for a long amount of time. They're going through bays.
No, yeah,
like
that's
at
right.
the oil change place.
That's right.
Are the ones that Ms. Bobo asked about that you said that had dual services, did they have 2 separate buildings as well, or are they operating with one building?
Our other locations in Tuscaloosa have 2 buildings.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not fully
The
sure.
one
of
off
that 'cause
Price
I'm not-
Mine does for sure.
Yeah, I know 2 of them do, but I don't know about that 3rd one.
So it's similar to the area.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with the one off of Rice Mine. It's a similar setup.
It is. We would prefer, like our prototypical building, we prefer one building because it's cheaper for us to build. But in this scenario, when you're restricted with land and lot availability, sometimes you have to put 2 buildings in. That's really what drove the design here. So.
Okay. Do we have anyone else who wanted to speak for or against the project? Hearing none, I'll close the floor for public hearing on agenda item 11C2. Form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance of condition use approval to locate an automotive service station in C3 general commercial zone for a property located at 2511 Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Councilman Aiken. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Item 11D is Police Department. We have 2. 11D1 is an ABC license for Northport Tobacco Outlet located at 2001 Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard, Suite 6. ABC license, Chief Burton.
Yes, ma'am. This is located at 2001 Lurleen Wallace Boulevard, Suite 6. There were no issues with this application.
Okay, I'll open the floor for a public hearing for agenda item 11D1. Is there anyone who would like to speak for or against this item? Whoops. Anyone? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the floor for public hearing on agenda item 11D1. Form of that motion is to approve the ABC license for Northport Tobacco Outlet. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 11D2 is ABC license for Yasin LLC DBA Northport Shell located at 1325 Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard, Chief Burton.
Yes, ma'am. This is located on Lurleen Wallace Boulevard, the Shell Station. There were no issues with this application either.
Okay, so I'll open the floor for public hearing for agenda item 11D2. Is there anyone who would like to speak for or against this item? Hearing none, I'll close the floor for public hearing for agenda item 11D2. Form of that motion is to approve the ABC license for Yasin LLC DBA Northport Shell. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Oh, sorry. That was a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item number 12 is City Administrator's Business.
I only have one item tonight, and that is to remind everyone that we are receiving comments and questions in regards to the redistricting proposal. You can submit comments and questions online. We'll leave that open through the city's website and its portal until 5 o'clock on September 30th, so a week from today.
If anybody has trouble getting that in online, they can make that up here during business hours as well.
They can. And we do have maps available in the front conference room for people to come by if there are any issues with technology.
Okay. Item number 13 is departmental business. We have none. Item number 14 is the mayor and council members' business. We'll start with the Honorable Mayor Henson.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a few comments about our general fund budget. I'd like to thank the Finance Committee, Mr. McGee, the Finance Director, Ms. Webb, and the council as a whole, and the city staff who worked hard in preparing this 24-25 budget. They've given us a very conservative, tight budget in a time when the economy is slowing some and federal funds are being cut back. This budget gives a 6% raise to employees and a 3.75% step raise for employees based on their anniversary date. This is very important in us retaining our employees and helping with the inflation they deal with in supporting their families. It also includes a 6% raise for agency funding, same as for employees. And I think this is a fair way to do it. It's in a time like this when we have a very tight budget. No health insurance increases for employees was included. No new positions added, causing additional cost. We're happy to see the $4 million increase in the general fund over the previous year in 25, which shows our city is growing. These funds will be used for basic needs of the city.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. And a big shout out to Mr. Joseph Rose, who keeps our employees' insurance down by making sure we're putting away the right amount of money so that we can keep those costs low. Item B is District 1, and I have one item. It's kind of new, not really new, but we have pushed forward another step towards starting Main Avenue. I think the appraisals were set forth to approved today, and we have received permission to go forward with making offers for purchasing right-of-way acquisition. That's my only update for District 1. District 2, Pro Tem Washington.
Yes, ma'am. First, I want to thank staff for a good job on the budget. Like I said, I worked for a city for 20 years, and every year I worked, our insurance rate went up every year. We got a little bit of raise, but the insurance is a little bit bigger than the raise. And just being here watching this on council for the past 4 years, the insurance haven't went up a bit. That's impressive. So I appreciate staff working hard in the city and the council approving the employee raises. It's really important that our employees are taken care of. You know, for me, they're priority one over anything else is looking out for our employees and staff. So thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Pro Tem Washington. District 3, Councilman Wiggins.
I have none at this time.
District 4, Councilwoman Dykes.
I have nothing at this time, thank you.
District 5, Councilman Aiken.
Thank you, Mr. Ray, Mr. Hope, for your time. President Bobo, thank you for allowing the questions. That's all I have.
Okay, item number 15 is adjournment. The form of this motion is to adjourn the meeting at 7:05 p.m. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
That's a motion by Pro Tem Washington and a second by Councilwoman Dykes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.